Till today in our portfolio, we have clients from 192 different types of businesses.
Wow.
Honestly, I always draw a disclaimer saying that I am a business coach. I am not business idea coach. I always say this, that if anyone has serial entrepreneur on their business card, run away because they are serially broke. Right? But I was proud. I carried it. I had a business card with 4 logos and I said, Rajiv Talreja, Maverick Entrepreneur. Even today I have 4 businesses, but the 4 of the past and the 4 of today have maturity. I have clients who are probably in their mid 40s, essentially been in business for 10, 15, 20 years sometimes. And they say, Rajiv, there's something I want to share with you which I can't tell my team, I can't tell my family, I can't tell my customers, but I'm bored. I've had doctors who are 42, 43 years old who say, I'm bored. Like कभी-कभी गुस्सा आता है कि अभी भी patient बाहर है. It's like there was a time when I started the clinic and I used to hope patients aaye. Now sometimes I catch myself doing a diagnosis of a patient where I'm like, okay, finish it fast.
Hey, this is Deepak here from digitaldeepak.com, and today we have a very special guest for our podcast, Rajiv Talreja. Welcome to our office.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation with you.
So Rajiv, I have been following you for a very long time. Out of all the people out there, you are one of the people who makes a lot of sense, especially when it comes to startups and real businesses, right? And I have personally worked in 5 different funded startups, and I have seen what is working, what is not working, and more than learning about what to do, I have learned what not to do. So let's start with that topic. You have worked personally with a lot of businesses which actually generate profit, cash flow in a real sense, and they don't chase the valuation game. So what's your thought on the current scenario that we saw in 2021, 2022, where there was this COVID boom with every startup getting like crazy valuations and funding, and now there is like a silent period, and this craziness will come again with reducing interest rates and a lot of capital flowing into the market. So yes, your thoughts on that?
So I believe it's about clarity, right? It's about what do you want to create as an entrepreneur. If you want to create something that is running on the cycles of funding, and you want to play the status and significance game where you get invited by conferences and you get startup portals interviewing you, featuring you, podcasters inviting you. If you want to play that game, the entire valuation mechanism is great. But if you are clear that you want to build something that will be built on fundamentals of profitability, of sustainability, of impact, and most importantly, of autonomy and peace of mind, then traditional businesses are any day better. It's like this, the seduction is higher on the other side because no media channel covers a traditional business. You will not be able to evaluate a traditional business as fancily as you can evaluate a technology startup. Am I negating the impact tech startups have created in our lives? No, not at all. I think all these payment gateways, food delivery apps, today our life runs on them. But however, what I always say to people is that don't just look at the poster boys of the duopolies in every industry. When you're making a choice to build a business, truly understand the mechanics. Understand that that game requires you to let go of autonomy. Over a period of time, you are no longer an entrepreneur. You are a manager who probably does not even have the right to make decisions because you have the risk of being vetoed by your board because you have a heavy board of VCs. And I've seen the other side as well. I've seen startup founders who've been funded, played the valuation game, also regretting it beyond a period of time, saying, कुछ भी करना था VC से पैसे नहीं लेने. And I've seen such entrepreneurs migrate to the traditional business model, the lifestyle business model. One argument is lifestyle businesses cannot be scaled. I don't buy that. I don't believe that. It's not like the business ecosystem did not exist before 2019, 2020. It's a harder, longer process, but I think anything that is worth it is harder and longer. There's no get rich quick.
That's true.
So I just like for people to have the clarity of which path they are choosing, why they are choosing, so that later on as they pursue that path, you should not carry regrets about could have, should have.
Yes.
So I see my job as a coach to create that clarity for people.
So Rajiv, I want to ask that you have been one of the most respected business coaches in the country. And a lot of people just sell a business opportunity.
Yeah.
And that has been since the days of the MLMs in our country, that, hey, pay me money, I will give you a business in a box.
Yeah, yeah.
But from what I have seen, you have been working with businesses which are not glamorous. They have proper unit economics, and you have been putting process and systems into their business to help them make more profit.
Yeah.
And that is like pure division of labor, right? Different people should do different things. Not everybody should chase the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So how did the deep passion for this come along? I'm sure that something drives you beyond just you wanting to build a business. You have seen the pain. So let's talk a little bit about that.
A lot of people ask me, why MSMEs? Why are you choosing to work with MSMEs? I've had offers of agencies who've come to me and said that, you know what, will you take up a MNC consulting project? I have a client who can do well with your services. They are willing to pay what they pay the BGCs and the McKinseys of the world. Would you like to take up that project and invest your time there? But for me, working with MSMEs is, there's a lot of experiences in my own life that have led me to a point saying, whenever I die, which I'm sure all of us will, but I want to leave a legacy saying, here's a man who gave his life to an ecosystem and created a deep impact in that ecosystem. And for me, it's MSMEs. And the reason for that is, number one, I've grown up in a house where the parents were in business. So my dad was a retail shop owner. So I've grown up in a business family. I've seen the challenges and the struggles, the sacrifices that my dad made. I have seen the downfalls he's had. So seeing that and growing up in that environment built a certain affinity towards businesses itself. Then I started my journey as an entrepreneur. When I started my journey as an entrepreneur, I was very optimistic that everything I'm going to do is going to work out. But like we all know, that hope and optimism turns into doubt and fear within a few months, not even years, right? And then for a good 10 years, I saw my share of challenges and struggles where I was the one doing everything in my business. I was the one who was bringing in the clients, but doing the work of my team members, but yet paying salaries to my team members, not taking money back home and feeling good about it also. So you see what a nice person I am. I'm doing all of these things. So one is looking at the journey of my own dad. Second is my own journey as an entrepreneur for the first 10 years, being filled with struggles. And then also working with a couple of brands in the past who had dealer distributor networks, which were largely MSMEs again, and helping those brands who had dealer distributor networks, elevating the processes, systems, capabilities, and teams of those dealer distributor networks and seeing an impact on the ground. So I think it's a culmination of those three experiences that got me to stumble upon this thought that why not just teach, but also handhold MSMEs, coach them to set these systems, build those second line of leaders, scale up their marketing and stuff like that. Now, initially, since 2016, when I started working with MSMEs after 10 years of being an entrepreneur myself, initially it was like, okay, this is working well because customer is happy and also I'm making money. So it was like, okay, all the 10 years now are making sense to me. Very soon what started happening was I started getting deeply involved, not just in the business of some of my initial clients, but also in their lives. And when I used to interact with their families, I used to hear from their family how this person has changed, and as a change in that individual who's been through coaching, how the quality of life of the family has changed. I never saw that through when I was creating this and doing this. And for me, family is something very important. It's a core value. It's personal to me. So when I saw that we are not in the business of helping businesses grow, we are in the business of helping families live a better quality of life.
Wow.
And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I can't find this joy if I work with a large MNC. I can't find this joy if I work with a funded startup. I'll find this joy when I work with a micro, small and medium enterprise business owner.
Yes.
So that's where this clarity came, saying we can do so many things for so many people, but like you always say, it's about knowing your niche. So I know my niche is micro, small, medium enterprise.
Yes.
Financially, capability wise, emotionally, spiritually, I see myself connected to that ecosystem fully. So I
Awesome.
enjoy working with them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, Rajiv, you have worked with a lot of businesses now, and I'm pretty sure that you have been surprised that, hey, this business also exists and they are also making money.
Yep.
And tell me a few examples of that, because everybody is chasing what is looking glamorous and what is being shown in the media.
Yeah.
And that's what they think where the money is. So everybody starts a startup, everybody gets into coaching. But I'm sure that there are pockets where a lot of profit lies, a lot of opportunity lies, but people have no idea about it.
I mean, every single business, right? I mean, till today in our portfolio, we have clients from 192 different types of businesses.
Wow.
So right from the ones we all know and see, like a restaurant to a coffee shop owner, to a digital marketing agency, to a doctor or a chartered accountant or lawyer, or a residential contractor or a real estate developer or a manufacturing business. These are things that we all know and see. But there are so many businesses that surprise me. Like I had a client once and she was into food formulations.
Okay.
So basically, what they used to do is there would be people who would be interested in setting up a food factory. Like it could be a cereal manufacturing factory, like breakfast cereal manufacturing factory, or some kind of a milk powder mix factory. So she would help food factory, entrepreneurs who want to build a food manufacturing business, formulate the recipe, identify the opportunity, and take them right from formulation to licensing to production to go to market.
Got it.
Now I'm like, think about it. You walk into a grocery store, you are surrounded by tens of thousands of packets. But nobody's ever thought who is helping that industry to come up with what they are putting in that packet. So I always say this, I'm at a disadvantage. It's an unfair advantage I have. Okay, I wouldn't call it a disadvantage, but an unfair advantage. I get paid to learn. I get paid to learn with the diversity of businesses we work with.
Yes.
Okay, I have pepper traders and I understand how pepper trade works. I have diamond cutting businesses as my clients and I understand how that works. So it's just such a blessed space. Bangle making business.
Wow.
That's such a huge industry. People barely understand what bangle making is. Right? So for me, it's divine. I mean, getting paid to learn. Can't ask for more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, when I joined InstaMojo in 2014 as a digital marketing manager, and then in 2016 I joined Razorpay as a digital marketing manager, one of my responsibilities was to collect testimonials from the top merchants. And then I would get to see who the top transacting merchants are. So that gave me an insight into what is working, what is not working, and the whole insight that EdTech is going to be big in India came to me because I was working in a payment gateway. So that was my unfair advantage. So being in a position where you can look into others' businesses and see how they are doing and where the opportunities are is also a superpower.
It is an absolute superpower, and I value that most about the work that we do, because we get to learn so much and we get to cross-pollinate ideas and strategies. Like something that is a natural way of doing a particular business in a particular industry, in another industry, nobody has thought of it. So you just take that best practice and plug it in here, and you see some exponential growth opportunities getting created over there. So that's
and the best practices are kind of the same for multiple businesses, because end of the day you are working with humans, and it's customers and it's sales and it's marketing.
It is. So there are both those aspects, right? There are some standard things that are common across businesses. There are some unique practices in an industry that can add value to other industries, but entrepreneurs in another industry have never even considered it. And that's where the massive alpha growth lies for those businesses.
Awesome. So now a lot of people who are watching this podcast are not businesses who have already started. So 1 out of 100 people who try to start a business end up getting a little bit of traction and they might seek your help to scale it. But for somebody who is like, hey, I have been in a job, I have been working for a while, but I want to start a business. So if somebody comes to you like that and says, what business should I start, Rajiv? So what would be your answer to them?
So honestly, I always draw a disclaimer saying that I am a business coach. I am not a business idea coach. But I kind of like to draw a guideline for that person. I believe that when you're starting a business, you got to have at least one advantage point on your side. Either you need to have capital that you've saved up through the savings out of the income from your job, or you need to have a particular skill set on the basis of which you will start the business, or you need to have a particular network which gives you access to an opportunity. So it's either capital, skill, network, or you need to have a solution that nobody else has thought. So if not all these four, which is that one that an individual has to begin with? That is where I would like for them to explore ideas.
Got it.
Right? So that's the way I kind of help such a person who wants to start afresh without any background in any industry to say, okay, what's that one string of hope that I can hold on to, pursue an idea, and then discover whether that's my space or not.
Yeah, makes sense. They have to invest years into it before they get that advantage, because
absolutely,
I see a lot of people who do a BE or a BTech and then jump into MBA directly and then like, okay, I will start a business. It doesn't work like that. You need to go deep into a technical skill and, as you said, gain an advantage, and then you can build a business around it.
You got to have at least one factor working for you, right? If you don't even have one of those factors working for you, then build one of those factors.
Capital is something that you might not be able to accumulate, but technical skills and network is something that you can work your way through.
Yeah, I mean, it may not be even extravagant capital to set up a manufacturing unit. Are you even able to accumulate capital to, let's just say, take a franchise of a food brand if you're passionate about food?
Yeah.
Right? Are you able to put that 20, 30 lakhs? So it does not have to be extravagant capital. I'm saying something that can give you a jump start. You need something to begin with.
Yes, right? Makes sense. So next question is that a lot of business owners have a little bit of beginner's luck. They start making money, they do something, and suddenly they are like, whatever I do will be successful. And instead of focusing on that one thing and going deep and trying to make more money with it, they are like, I will start multiple businesses. And you might have seen that with your clients as well.
I've not just seen that, I've done that myself. So I always say this, that if anyone has serial entrepreneur on their business card, run away. Because they are serially broke, right?
So
I can share out of my own personal experience, right? 2006, I started Quantum Leap as a corporate training company. Corporate training in India was an underpaid, undervalued profession. So corporates used to complain and whine to even pay 30,000 a day, 40,000 a day. They used to say, we have someone who's willing to do a leadership training for 15,000 rupees, someone who's willing to do a sales training for 12,000 rupees for a day. You're charging 40,000 rupees. They used to find that high. So corporate training, I kind of convinced myself saying, this is my passion. So it's okay if this is not giving me returns. As long as the business is getting sustained, I can pay salaries, that's good enough. So what else can I do? And my wife had an event management business, and I used to help her with corporate sales, because that the target audience of both of us initially was the same, corporate HR managers. So I used to do corporate sales for the events company. I used to do corporate sales for my corporate training business as well. And we used to make some amount of money from there. So I was like, felt so good about myself saying, I run two businesses. And then after that, I was like, okay, this is not enough. And then another opportunity came where a person said, can we start a recruitment business together? And I'm like, yeah, again, I'm building an ecosystem for HR managers. So I'm like this super business house of HR managers. Very proudly would create a logo and put Quantum Leap group of companies as well. You know, those are your innocent desperations to validate to yourself ki hum bhi kuch hai. I'm also somebody.
Yes.
Right? And so invested in a recruitment business where I was not active operationally. This guy used to run, but I was very proud. 3 logos on my business card. Then through corporate training, one of our clients, which was a London-based bank, really liked our capabilities, and they said, hey, listen, we want a outsourcing project management partner. We said, what does that mean? They said, can you help us onboard call centers across Asia and Africa, train them not just on the communication aspect, but on the process, on the product, and then do quality audits, set up a back-end call center yourself of quality auditors and trainers and all of that. So then started the 4th business saying, outsourcing, we have an outsourcing project management company. So I used to walk around very proud of myself saying, I'm 26 years old and I have 4 businesses. Truth, I had 4 businesses, but those 4 businesses were like having 4 jobs. Okay. And out of those 4 jobs, I would take stipends which would amount to something of meaning for myself. Was I scaling any one of them? None. Was I reaping benefits of being an entrepreneur abundantly, be it from a financial point of view or from a growth point of view? None. But I was proud. I carried it. I had a business card with 4 logos and I said, Rajiv Talreja, Maverick Entrepreneur. Looking back, I'm like, oh my God, these are cliched, cringe things that we've done in our years of innocence, in our years of hope and desperation, right? And then after that, life hits you. You realize this is not the approach of building a business. Then you know that what are you good at? What are you willing to add value? What are you willing to be a market leader at? You got to get one idea right in life.
Yes.
So do I hold a multiple portfolio of businesses today? Yes. But I hold it in a manner where my strengths are contributing to a business. My returns are proportionately in value of what I am adding as a value to that business. So even today I have 4 businesses, but the 4 of the past and the 4 of today have maturity. Today there is maturity. Back then it was desperation.
Yes.
So I understand that emotion. I always say this, that, when you don't make money, then you start another business hoping that will make you money. Then you start another one. And then over a period of time, you just enjoy the glory of being a serial entrepreneur. The truth is you're serially broke.
Yeah. So it's the most humbling experience to try to grow a business because the startup works on you more than you work on the startup. Like
Absolutely.
you become the person because you have been trying to build a business. And when I used to work in different companies, some of those companies are multi-billion-dollar companies today. I used to think, ye kya hai, hum bhi kar sakte hain, ye kya hai, hum bhi kar sakte hain. Coming back, starting in 2017, now 7 years into entrepreneurship, it's like the most humbling experience ever. Like it reminds you that like you are not born with like a silver spoon of entrepreneurship gift that you will like touch anything and
there are
get
only
success.
2 parts of spiritual evolution. Path number 1, you walk to the Himalayas, you meditate for years. Path number 2, you start a business.
Amazing.
A business requires you to be in the present.
Yeah.
Every sales meeting is different. Sometimes you walk into a sales meeting because you just had a good closure. So you think, oh, that's going to work. And suddenly that guy is like, okay, we'll get back to you. And you know that they're never going to get back. So business makes you treat every single conversation, every single event in the business on a daily basis by being in the present, treating it as fresh, doing it with the same passion, the same awareness. So I always say business is a spiritually evolutionary process. If you want to evolve spiritually, start a business. The financial gains are the byproduct of that spiritual evolution.
So taking the conversation from a little bit of spirituality angle, when I started the business, the goal was that I want a BMW, I want a Mercedes-Benz, I want a big bungalow, I want to be Forbes 30 under 30. Abhi 30 cross ho gaya, maybe Forbes 40 under 40. So that's how it started, like for the first maybe 5-6 years. But then you work at least in a business for 5 years, you get to a certain point where your basic needs are fulfilled. Okay, I have a decent enough car, I have a decent enough house. Okay, now let's focus on family. And slowly the wanting of that name, image, and all that kind of like slowly fades away. So your personal journey and what you have seen in your clients, that what drives you or what should drive an entrepreneur to do it? Like, right now I take pleasure and enjoyment from offering services to people and seeing people's lives transform. That is what is driving me, because if I'm just focused on trying to make money for myself, then it won't last for more than a few years, right? You will know that it's a very long process before you see massive wealth coming in. And a little bit about frugality, right? So talk about that.
I think money is important, and the chase of money is very real when you don't have it. I always say this, that if you've ever gone through the process of impressing someone before you started dating them, the joy of the chase of getting that person to be impressed by you and approve you or say yes to you, there's a sweetness in that joy. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have people who say, we started dating, things changed after that, kind of thing. Right? Money is exactly like that. So you got to learn how to keep the spark alive. Like in a relationship, once you start dating or once you get married, you got to proactively work with each other to find what is it that brings you together. Otherwise, you lose meaning in that relationship, right? Same with business. Money is the pre-wedding or pre-dating stage. Once you start making money, it's like you gotten married to that business. Now, the question is, do you have meaning in that marriage? How do you create meaning in that marriage? For me, I create meaning in the marriage where my wife and I sit together and say, what do we want to create for each other? What do you want to experience together? And what do you want to give back? I think the same three questions are important even in business. What do we want to create? What do we want to experience from this business for ourselves? Financially, emotionally, and what do we want to give back? If you're constantly answering these three questions and you're creating milestones for yourself, that's when you see progress, growth, and energy on an everyday basis. Otherwise, it becomes like a meaningless marriage. And I've had this, like, I have clients who are probably in their mid 40s, essentially been in business for 10, 15, 20 years sometimes. And they say, Rajiv, there's something I want to share with you which I can't tell my team, I can't tell my family, I can't tell my customers, but I'm bored. I've had doctors who are 42, 43 years old who say, I'm bored. Like, कभी-कभी गुस्सा आता है कि अभी भी patient बाहर है. He's like, there was a time when I started the clinic and I used to hope patients आए. Now sometimes I catch myself doing a diagnosis of a patient where I'm like, okay, finish it fast. So he's like, and that scares them. That why am I thinking this? Why am I feeling this? And I feel that experience of boredom or disconnection happens with a business only after you stabilize with money.
Yes.
Okay. Once you stabilize with money, that's why it's important to identify what's the next milestone in terms of creation, in terms of experience, in terms of impact and contribution. If you can answer those three questions, you'll always be in love.
True. Yeah. Very, very well said. Taking the conversation from there, how important has been family, especially your spouse, critical in your own personal growth, especially in terms of business? And based on what I don't know much, but based on what I have seen, you have a great partner who kind of contributes to your business, takes part in conversations and everything. And I personally have gone through a failed marriage. It was a 7 years marriage and it failed. And it kind of ripped me apart. I had to like basically pick all the pieces together and rebuild my life from scratch. So talk a little bit about that, because I know that there are a lot of entrepreneurs where everything is going well in the business. They are making money, there is fame and everything, but घर में कुछ ठीक नहीं है. So a little bit about that.
So I definitely feel blessed to, for that one aspect of my life to kind of naturally fall in place. In my case, Bhakti and I have now been married for 11 years. We've been business partners for 13 years. We've been dating for a good, she'll kill me now if I don't get this date accurate. But yeah, we've been dating since 2006, which is 17 years. And we've been friends since 2002.
Wow.
So
more than 20 years.
21 years of knowing each other. And I don't expect that to be a template in people's life. I feel I've genuinely gotten lucky over there in that area of my life. I think because we've pretty much grown together, like we've known each other for 20 years. We've seen each other through our teenage days, seen our conditioning, our belief systems, all of that have gotten influenced and molded by each other. So there's a deep sense of, there's a strong foundation. And as the foundation gets stronger and stronger, the feedback for each other becomes more and more subtle. She's able to see things that I am not able to see in myself. There was a stage she was able to see through things that I'm thinking but are not expressing. So I think she's played a very, very crucial role in this journey. She's an established entrepreneur herself. So that was again another advantage point because she understood the journey of building a business. And more than anything, I give her a lot of due credit because she's super grounded. And she's brought that flavor to the relationship and kind of helped me anchor myself as well. So I always say this to people that, you know what, a marriage or a relationship takes effort.
100%.
Even this, though we've known each other for 21 years, even this has taken effort. This continues to take effort. It sounds very fanciful to sit in a podcast and say 21 years of knowing each other. But even today, there are new level of challenges. And that has become a common understanding that, you know what, we need to continue to challenge each other. But if I'm challenging her the same way that I was 3 years back and she's challenging me the same way that she has been for the last 3 years, both of us haven't grown. So it takes work. And for me, my heart breaks when I see people lose faith in a relationship
Yeah.
for whatever experiences they've gone through, right? And I always say that, you know what, you may set it aside for some time and say, I am not open to a relationship. But then there will come back a stage where you will realize it is a part of all of us that we need someone to share our journey with, right? So, and I know in the woke culture, you may receive some comments on me saying this, that, he's advocating a system that has failed. I have seen marriages fail all around me. I'm sorry, just because you have wrong role models doesn't mean the system is dysfunctional.
True.
Those role models were dysfunctional.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's not blame a system.
Yeah.
And let's have the curiosity and the humility to explore and humility to work on ourselves in the process.
True. 100%. Because when I was 30 and when I came out of my first marriage, I was like, I'm never getting married again. And then 30 to 35, I started seeing a little bit of success with my business and everything, started having some money, having some fame, built the startup. There were always people around me, co-founders, employees and everything, but you hate going back to an empty house. You just like need that co-founder for life.
Yes, absolutely.
And end of the day, yes, luck definitely plays a role there. And people who have got lucky with that, Godspeed to them. People who have not got lucky, I think they should definitely work through it, either make it absolutely work or find a solution to it, right?
No,
which is...
Let's look at your own journey, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you were broken by an experience. You gave yourself the time, space, but most importantly, you gave yourself the opportunity to stay open to it.
Yes.
Now when you look back, okay, and now when you look back, I'm sure you get this experience saying, this was the right one.
Yeah.
Okay. And that was the training ground.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's our mistake. We pass absolute judgments on our experiences.
Yes.
Okay. But what we need to realize is we will all live a life where we'll end up contradicting what we believed in 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
We are always evolving, changing.
Exactly.
And the world is evolving as well.
So you got to keep yourself open to that, right?
Yeah. So continuing the conversation from family. So recently I've heard that you have become a father. And how has the worldview changed since then?
One thing I can say with absolute conviction and integrity is that the entire parenting industry is built around fear. Right from how society scares you about it to how medical practitioners scares you about it. It's a fear-driven economy. And in reality, if you educate yourself, and that's a big if, and I've seen a lot of parents don't educate themselves. If you educate yourself, it's one of the most blissful journeys that you can have.
The highest purpose.
You realize that your life is not just about your goals. Your life is about empowering another being to find their goals, purpose, and fulfill them. Not to create goals for them, but to help them find. And I think that's the most beautiful thing. That's the gift of parenting. My daughter just turned 1 year old.
Wow.
And in this last 1 year, I believe I have learned so much from her. We believe that parents' job is to teach their kids. Don't even try. The kid comes into your life to teach you lessons, to teach you patience, to teach you presence, to teach you love, to teach you unconditionality, to teach you flexibility, so many things.
Yeah.
And you got to educate yourself. Parenting, unfortunately, is built on notions, superstitions, and fears.
Fear.
But it's not that.
Yeah. And they remind you to become innocent yourself, right? Become humble.
Absolutely. Again. I mean, you can't go back. I look at it, a child or a pet. Okay. They can melt you like this.
Yes.
Okay. Either a child or a pet. They can release anything that you're carrying and just bring you to a moment of bliss.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. So that's pretty much it. I have run out of questions. I think we have gone like a full round, starting with startups, business, and eventually coming to the most important topic, that is family.
Yep.
So thanks a lot, Rajiv, for doing this. Pleasure having you here in this podcast. And that's it.
Thank you so much. I mean, I love the conversation. I love the question. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.